So number one, I will say that on a trials bike, it's harder to 360 than it is on a BMX bike, just because of the geometry and how trials bikes are really made to be on the back wheel. When I first learned how to 360, I actually learned it on a BMX bike. So I didn't actually know how to do it on a trials bike, because at the time, my trials bike had a very long stem, and when you have a really long stem and a really long wheelbase, like a lot of pure trials bikes do, like the ones that hop on the rocks, the 360s become a lot harder, and you really have to suck up your front end a lot. So on the trials bike, I'd say, because if you're riding a 24-inch or a 26-inch, larger rotating mass on your wheels, it's going to be harder to get the bike around than on a smaller bicycle, because there's just more bike to move around. When you're first learning these, you might have to carve a little bit more, and by carving I mean turning the opposite direction first and then using that momentum to actually lift the bike up and do the 360. With the 360, it's almost kind of like a two-stage kind of trick. The first stage is really getting the pump and hopping the first 180, and then afterwards it's sucking up the back end so that you can get the rest of the 180 around and land back straight again. With the trials bikes, you really have to go far over the bars to really get the whole momentum going for the 360. You want to hop like this, look over your shoulder, and you're not really focusing on anything over your shoulder, because a lot of people say, oh, look over your shoulder. And when I was first thinking that, I was like, oh, like, okay, what's over there? Like, I'm looking over there. But you're not really thinking about that. You're thinking about the trick. It's just the movement. That's where your head needs to be, and that's where your body needs to be in order to do the trick. So don't focus on anything over there, like, oh boy, there's a cat over there. I'm looking at it now while I'm doing this 360. That's not what you want to do. You just need to focus on the trick. It's just to get your body in the right place in order to do it. So going over, looking over your shoulder like this, and then hopping. And once you're like this, you're kind of in like this position, sort of. And to get the rest of it, you're kind of want to like suck up your back end a little bit and kind of stay forward over your bar. You might think that if you learn how to do it down a curve, it gives you a little bit more airtime. And while this is true, and technically you do have more airtime and more time to do it, when you're first learning them, it's scarier going off the end of a curb. So you're not really thinking about how you have more airtime, you're still just focusing on the trick. And since it's scary to go down the curb, you're kind of messing it up more than really giving it everything you have to learn how to do it when you're just on flat ground. You can try it off the edge of a curb, but I know that when I was trying it off of something, because I thought I'd have more time to be able to get the 360 around, if anything, I was actually not doing it as well, or doing the same thing that I'd be doing it on flat ground. So I say just stick with flat ground and just do it that way instead. This is just a tip. This might not help for everyone, but I know for some people this helps, and me included. You don't necessarily have to do it like on an embankment or anything like that, but just kind of having something in your mind exactly where you're gonna pick up your front wheel. I like to kind of have that marker, okay, right where that crack is, I'm gonna lift my front wheel, because otherwise it's hard to really give it everything you have and really get the right movements to do the actual trick. If I have this crack right over here, I'm gonna come right at it, and then I'm gonna lift up my front wheel right where the crack is to kind of give my mind an idea of exactly where I want to do the trick, because otherwise I found that it's a little bit harder to kind of get yourself to do the trick. It's like, okay, am I going to do it now, or now I'm going to do the trick? So just a tip if that helps. I know it helped me and it helps other people too. I know this video wasn't totally completely descriptive. I tried to make it kind of especially like for how trials is a little bit different from BMX. BMX is a little bit easier just to flick around the bike. On the trials bike, all the movements are really exaggerated. You really have to give it everything you have in order to do the 360. Hopefully this video helped you. Let me know down in the comments if it improved your 360s or it helped your 360s. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment down below for what videos you want me to make next, and have an awesome day.